Did you do a mock meeting?
No, we did not.
Oh, you didn't do a mock meeting?
No.
Last year I think you did a mock meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think you did a mock meeting with somebody like the chair.
Like during the day?
Yeah, during the day.
Well, that would be a really good idea. Yeah. Today.
Oh, okay.
I am.
I'd like to call the April Jefferson County Board of Legislature meeting to order. Mr. Ferris? Thank you. Oh, okay. I'm just letting you know. You're welcome. First, we'll begin with the county administrator leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have a moment of reflection, moment of silence. May be seated. Start before we get into the welcoming of everybody. We'll start with roll call members first.
Legislator Johnson? Peck? Here. Sabawanik? Here. Doldo? Here. Maxon? Here. Reed? Here. Monticelli? Welcome back. Drake? Here. McBride? Here. Jarrow? Here. Fitzpatrick? Ferris? Here. Cantwell? Here. Gray?
Here. Okay. First of all, we have a nice representation from the Cornell Cooperative Extension student government sessions classes that they have taken. And I'd like to welcome you all to Jefferson County, our legislator meeting, and welcome you to whoever's not from the country, welcome you to the United States as well. How many different countries do we have represented here? 12 different countries. Wow, that's amazing, amazing. I certainly hope that you have gained a lot of knowledge about how a variety of levels of government work throughout New York State, throughout local jurisdictions such as the City of Watertown and Jefferson County, and a variety, and on the national level. Certainly our model is not perfect, but it works well, and it provides for nice open discussion, free-flowing thoughts and ideas and debate. And hopefully at the end of the day, we arrive at decisions that are best for our constituency, whether it be on the local level or on the national level. That's what the whole system is designed for, is to bring a collaboration of ideas together and allow for compromise and what's in the best interest of people to move it forward in order to serve you folks the best. So we certainly welcome you here, and we're glad that you made it through all of the sessions, and hope that you learned a lot. Would any of you like to address the Board of Legislature? Please step forward. Don't be bashful.
Hello. We would like to thank you for this amazing opportunity. Over the past 4 weeks, we've been able to meet officials and their staffers who have worked at every level in government. We've been able to get more insight on our local government and its importance as we are going to be voting in the near future. We got to learn what degrees can lead you into the field of politics, as well as how many jobs one campaign can offer people, from advertising to being chief of staff. We talked to people who worked in agriculture at the state level and learned about local issues in more depth. When Tedra Cobb and others came to speak to us, they told us one thing to keep in mind: perspective. Be open to different views. This is important as many of us are going to be voting and thinking about going into the field of politics. If or when any of us run for office, the thing to keep in mind that Jeremiah Maxon left us with is if you cannot win, have fun while losing. Thank you.
I think I may have read that someplace.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Abdazimova Gulbakhar, exchange student from Kazakhstan. Today, I'm going to thank you that you organized such a wonderful program for our students. And I'm a part of Green Heart Exchange program, and we, all the students from 12 different countries, are thankful for you that you organized such an amazing and very informative program for all the students. And I am so thankful for you for having us in this program as an exchange student.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? And again, your participation in these sessions has been hopefully beneficial to you and to prepare you for the future. The future is yours. We're simply the caretakers of the moment. So it is all yours, and sooner or later we turn the baton over to you folks and say, it's all yours, run with it, have fun. So thank you for participating. Mr. Ferris, you have an additional student that is with you this evening for student government class. Would you like to introduce him? Would you like to introduce him?
Hi, I'm Michael McDougall. I am from Copenhagen Central School District. Thank you for letting me come here, I guess.
Yep. Certainly welcome. And you're doing this as part of yours?
For my government class, yes.
Yeah, your government class. Great. Great. If you have any questions after the meeting, we'll be happy to answer any for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
Welcome, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Anybody else that'd like privilege of the floor, please step forward, state your name and address, and the floor is yours, Mr. Villa.
My name is Dan Villa. I live at 26130 County Route 57, 3 Mile Bay. I want to thank you, Mr. Gray, and County Administrator Hagman. Just as a brief history, on August 1st, 2017, 2:30 in the morning, my wife woke me up because someone had turned the light on in my bedroom while they burglarized my house and stole thousands of dollars worth of merchandise and things. Also, they stole my shotgun, my duck shotgun, and it's pretty frightening to know that someone was in your bedroom while you're sound asleep. I can only say thank you to the Sheriff's Department. They were wonderful. They got there very quickly. I live very rurally, and did a wonderful job, especially Detective House, who did my case, was wonderful. So 13 months later, the gentleman was found guilty and was sentenced to 5 years as a repeat offender. The reason why I'm here is on September 26, 2017, almost 19 months ago, I filed an application for a pistol permit. Paid my $136.75 in cash and was told by the lady, I'll see you in at least a year. So on December 9th of 2018, it was a Sunday. I came in on a Sunday because Detective Guidry could see me on a Sunday for my interview and my picture, fingerprints, and everything else that was needed. He gave me additional forms that my references had to sign, said it should be just a short period of time now. I go to Florida in January. Just got back yesterday. I may be a month too soon based on the weather, and still nothing. I had contacted Sheriff O'Neill in February to let her know how the case ended up, and again, thank her and the deputies for all they did. And so today I'm starting my 19th month, waiting for my concealed carry permit. You don't understand the impact this has had on my wife and in my house. We can't even go in the yard now without shutting the door and turning the alarm on. I had to have everything beefed up around the house for her, new door locks, touch pads, motion lights. And you know, I was a pharmacist for 31 years in this town, and I could have got a concealed carry permit 31 years ago. A lot of pharmacists carry. I never did, but my wife does not feel safe now in her own home, and I'm trying to get a concealed carry permit. And I've heard numerous reasons why it takes so long. There's no money in the budget. There's nothing this in the budget. You know, I served 12 years on the Watertown School Board. I served 12 years on the Samaritan Medical Center Board. I served 7 years on the JCC Board, and I'm in my 9th year in the town of Lyme. And I can tell you that I've served on many budgets, and I know there's money in the budget if it's a priority. There's hundreds of people in this county who are waiting months and months, and now almost 2 years to get a concealed carry permit. And that to me, is a service that should be provided much more quickly. These people that are asking for this service, many things that the county does, they never even understand what you do. I'm not complaining about one thing you do here. The roads are good. Everything is good. The court system, everything. I don't have a problem. But there are some people that don't take or participate in any of that. And a concealed carry permit is something that they're looking forward to, they're paying their money for, and waiting months and months and months. I just ask you to figure out a way to expedite this. 2 weeks it took me to get my permit in Florida. The problem is I can't buy a gun in Florida to protect my wife and while I'm there because I can't bring it back to New York. So I'm stuck in this limbo of waiting and waiting and waiting. Something has to be done. It's a service that needs to be provided. It's a service that people want and pay their money up front for, and it's a service that's not being provided in a timely fashion. I can honestly say there isn't one other service that people pay money for in this county that takes this long to get action on. Something needs to be done. I appreciate everything everybody does here. It's a thankless job. Bill takes a lot of grief from me every month out in the town of Lyme. But I'll tell you, what you do is honorable, and I appreciate what you do, and hopefully you can fix this.
Thank you very much.
That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate it. Message delivered. Heard. Anybody else privilege of the floor? Hearing none, we'll close. Is there anyone that would like the minutes of the last session read? If not, do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, then they'll stand as presented. Presentations of petitions, notices, and communications.
We have one note of information for everybody this evening. We received a letter of appreciation from the New York State Association of Counties with regards to recent county resolutions proposing New York State election changes and AIM legislation.
Reports of standing committees.
The report of the Finance and Rules Committee reporting favorably on resolutions number 72, 75, 76, 77, 78, and 79.
Reports of county officers and others.
We have a report of the county treasurer on investments in cash on hand. We also have a report of the county administrator on budget transfers.
We'll start with local laws, resolutions, and motions. Before we get started, for the students in the audience, a lot of these resolutions you may hear us go fairly quickly with. They have been through one of the jurisdictional committees prior to arriving at this board, so they have been thoroughly vetted and discussed prior to getting here, and it's an opportunity for the rest of the board to weigh in on them, plus that the balance of the board has to, aside from the committee, has to vote on it. So that's what you'll hear. You'll hear us say roll call vote in many instances, separate from just taking discussion and a vote. A roll call vote generally is required when we have to amend the county budget, correct?
Correct.
So, with that, resolution number 69, please.
Authorizing the establishment of petty cash fund for the county attorney's office.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 70.
Amending the 2019 county budget to reappropriate funding from the New York State Department of Labor for Employment and Training Department.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Monticelli? Yes. Maxon? Yes. Doldo? Yes. Peck? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Ferris? Yes. Nebewanik? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Drake? Yes. Jarrell? Yes. McBride? Yes. Reed? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 71.
Funding position in the Employment and Training Department.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 72.
Authorizing agreement amending the 2019 county budget and capital plan in relation to the fiscal year 2018 New York State Inoperable Communications Target Grant.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Maxon? Yes. Drake? Yes. Ferris? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Peck? Yes. McBride? Yes. Nebewanik? Yes. Reed? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Monticelli? Yes. Jarrell? Yes. Doldo? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 73.
Establishing time and place for a public hearing related to the 2019 Community Development Block Grant process.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 74.
Authorizing agreement for the development and submission of a Community Development Block Grant application to the New York State Office of Community Renewal and for the development and administration of the grant program.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 75.
Authorizing intermunicipal agreement with the City of Watertown regarding the fiscal year 2018 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Program and amending the 2019 county budget in relation thereto.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Peck? Yes. Reed? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Drake? Yes. Monticelli? Yes. Nebewanik? Yes. Jarrell? Yes. Ferris? Yes. McBride? Yes. Doldo? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Maxon? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
76.
Authorizing agreements for an additional allocation of the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee Stop DWI Crackdown Enforcement Grant and amending the 2019 county budget in relation thereto.
Mr. Jarrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Although I already stated my objections to this resolution in committee for the sake of our audience, I will reiterate that I believe that these funds are often used for what I consider unconstitutional measures in roadblocks, and therefore I cannot support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Jarrell. Any other comments? None? Roll call.
Legislator Fitzpatrick? McBride? Yes. Peck? Yes. Maxon? Yes. Reed? Cantwell? Yes. Monticelli? Yes. Goldo? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Jarrell? No. Nebewanek? Yes. Harris? Yes. Drake? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
77.
Authorizing implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of federal aid and State Bridge New York program aid eligible costs of the Transportation Federal Aid Project, appropriating funds therefore, and amending 2019 county budget and capital plan. This is in regard to County Route 62 over Mill Creek.
Discussion. None? Roll call.
Legislator McBride? Yes. Maxon? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Jarrell? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Nebewanek? Yes. Harris? Yes. Monticelli? Yes. Goldo? Yes. Peck? Yes. Reed? Yes. Drake? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
78.
Authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of the Transportation Federal Aid Project, appropriating funds therefore, and amending 2019 county budget and capital plan, again, in regards to County Route 62 over Mill Creek.
Discussion. Roll call.
Legislator Peck? Yes. Reed? Yes. Harris? Yes. Monticelli? Johnson? Yes. Maxon? Yes. McBride? Yes. Gray? Yes. Nebewanek? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Goldo? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Jarrell? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 79.
Amending the 2019 county budget relative to mental health programs and authorizing amendment agreements in relation thereto.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 80.
Authorizing agreements with the New York State Department of Education approved agencies for the provision of special education services to preschool children with disabilities.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 81.
Authorizing agreements and establishing rates of provision of related services in connection with a program for preschool children with disabilities.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That concludes the resolutions. At this point, we'll open it up for any old business, new business. Before we get going with that, I just would like to announce the creation of an ad hoc committee, and it's pursuant to Resolution 68, passed on March 5th by the full board, which authorizes the commencement of litigation for the purpose of recovering costs incurred by Jefferson County taxpayers for the provision of health services and benefits for the opioid abuse and addiction, and where it directs the county attorney to retain counsel for that person. We are moving forward as resolved, and of those that supported Resolution 68, I have not heard anything in terms of feedback with regards to the merit of the case that would give us any reason to pause the process. As was pointed out earlier in the week, the New York State Attorney General, who had previously filed the suit, has amended their lawsuit to include more litigants, and they are doing that for the sole purpose of trying to recoup state taxpayer funds that have been spent for this situation. And we are in an effort to recoup local taxpayer money. So therefore, I'm creating an ad hoc committee to work with the county attorney as a liaison to the board that will proceed forward in selecting a law firm that will move forward with Resolution 68. The ad hoc committee will be legislators John Peck, Mike Monticelli and Robert Cantwell, and they will report back to the board in terms of the law firm that's selected and any further information subsequent to selection of a law firm. At this time, I'll tell you it will not be the Cicala law firm. Is there any questions regarding that? None? Okay.
So it won't be the Cicala law firm?
That is correct.
Why?
They declined.
Okay. So I just have one other comment, and I know it's at your discretion, but it seems to me that somebody from the other side of the fence on this issue should have been on that ad hoc committee. I think you should reconsider that.
Okay. Point well taken. I will reach out to somebody. It's not a problem. Further questions? None? Okay. Any other business come before the board? Mr. Maxim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that we have a full house tonight. We rarely do. And I'm glad that the students are here from this country and from others to see local government at its finest. I think we do a good job here. And I wanted to specifically mention one of the things I appreciated that happened tonight. We heard from a concerned constituent, Mr. Villa, who is exercising his rights, guaranteed under the First Amendment, to come and petition his government for a redress of his grievances. The Second Amendment guarantees him a right to keep and bear arms that shall not be infringed, and the fact that he is waiting nearly 2 years is a shame. It's unconscionable. And to add insult to injury, that the entire process in the state of Florida took 2 weeks, I think underscores how inefficient, how unresponsive, and how unconstitutional New York State's gun control laws are. They are a shame that a law-abiding citizen has to, first of all, petition his government, period, but that we would drag it out for 19 months it's a disgrace. So I appreciate that you came, sir. I hope that we can get you what you deserve soon. But we've been around this for years and years, and it hasn't. I don't know that it's getting better. I would love to have the sheriff in to discuss with us what is taking so long and how we can help her serve the citizens and to get them their constitutionally guaranteed rights. Thanks.
Thank you, Legislator Maxim. Anybody else? Mr. Peck?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there anything new to report out of the passage of the state budget and how that impacts us at this point?
Is there new to report on the state budget?
Well, I know.
How long do you have? I got 19 pages I'd like to go through. Yeah, there's a lot to report. We are responsible to pay the AIM to the towns and villages, which is the tune of about $500,000, $490,000. There are some fairly large amounts to municipalities. One is $33,000 to one municipality, but I mean there's some that are significant amount of money to municipalities, towns, villages, whatever. The comptroller will take it upon themselves to skim may be a harsh word, but they will extract the funds. Pardon?
Yeah, taking it off the top.
Yeah, they will take it off the top before distribution. So it will. This is the most major thing. I mean, it'll take it off the top before it reaches us. Then they will begin paying the towns in December of this year, and they'll begin paying the villages in May of next year. They will begin collecting from us in June of this year. So the real question, and that's before distribution. So as you will probably read tomorrow in the paper, I have read before in my letters that I have some grave concerns. As I labeled it in the paper, it's a fiscal mismatch. They're taking a fixed cost and they're using a volatile revenue to pay that fixed cost. Now, the question really comes down, as Bob likes to say, the devil's in the details. So one thing that they did to try to soothe this over is they eliminated tax exemption for energy service delivery companies. So if you, Bill would probably be able to define it, but if you contracted with a delivery service of your utilities, it was tax exempt prior to that, sales tax exempt. That is no longer sales tax exempt. So they've added that revenue back into our sales tax stream. As you know, they passed the internet sales tax. The question comes down is how are they going to account for all of this? So are they going to put it all together in a single sales tax stream? Is it all going to be reported separately? And will there be any way of attributing the AIM payment back to any direction of sales tax if we experience a decline in sales tax or whatever? I mean, is there any way of tracking it back? Or are we just going to, take it for what it's worth and try to guess it why our sales tax is declining? But so that's really, that unless you saw something different, I have not seen where that's been defined yet. That's aside from that. The overarching concern, and if you read it from county administrator to county executive to board chairman across the whole state, is the overarching reach into our sales tax revenue that essentially is funding a program that is between the state and the municipalities. It has nothing to do with the county. It is not services that we're providing to the county residents in any way, shape, or form. It is strictly, it is what it is, aid and incentives to municipalities. It's nothing to do with the county. And the real concern, and I read it from Mark out in Erie County, was several share the concern is where does it stop? Charlie Nesbitt, who is also the chairman of NISEC, was out and, where does this stop? Where do they stop reaching into our sales tax revenue to make other payments to local municipalities or whomever on our behalf without any say? That strictly is a revenue stream. It's not a service that they're saying you have to provide. It's just they're reaching into a revenue stream and paying somebody else off. So that's a major thing.
Well, and with full disclosure, this is the major thing. I totally agree with the chairman. But there was some money. How that's going to play out, we don't know. But there's money that's being allocated to go towards the election reforms that were approved now earlier in the year. Exactly how that happens remains to be seen. But we had gotten a report from our election commissioners that the first blush review was going to be $200,000 hit to Jefferson County in this year to set things up for the fall election time. How that plays out remains to be seen. But in theory, there was some money that was allocated at the last minute.
$14.7 million, and it's going to be appropriated by registration. And to answer Mr. Maxon's earlier concerns, it is partially for electronic books. Yep. So there's a variety of other security measures. So another issue that is the plastic bag ban, and whether there's an opt-in for the county if you would choose to tax paper bags in order to fund the purchase, or I think the county has to provide them the reusable bags. So probably an issue that look forward to come down the road at some point, whether we want to make a decision on that. But there's a lot of counties that are not opting in. I'm figuring it's just a hardship to people. Of course, there's the indigent legal defense. There's a lot happen. There's a lot of parts. There's no short explanation for that. There's a lot going on in that department. So, of which they're providing a considerable amount of money for.
I would say another major issue is now the requirement in reverse that there will not be bail for most of those who are being charged with crimes. And I honestly can't tell you the particulars of it, but I do know that most law enforcement officials were opposed to it because of the complexities that start to surface. But that's a work in progress that will take effect later on in the year.
Yeah, you will, I mean, that will impact, without a doubt, impact our population as they take it down considerably. So it's down now, it'll be down, it should, by the reforms, there's just going to be issuing appearance tickets out there. There's not going to be any, institutionalizing them. Yes, Mr. Monticelli.
Thank you, Chairman. Just regarding AIM funding and even the bail and the changes in the budget that seem to have an impact on rural counties, I just would like to suggest this perspective. It's an urban-rural situation. There are 63 senators in New York State. 39 of those senators represent Westchester County, New York City, Suffolk County, and Nassau County. So that's 2/3. When they reference, in those 3 counties, not including the city, because the city doesn't have towns, in those 3 counties, there are only 30 towns. Now, there's plenty of villages. And the people who get AIM funding, or the entities that get AIM funding, are the ones that have significant need. I doubt that they're Long Island or Westchester. The point being, it's just the urban part of the state doesn't recognize that there is a rural part of the state with need. Just my comment. Thank you.
Last thing I'll leave you on the state budget is the tax cap is permanent. Major policy item. So, Mr. Peck.
No wonder when you're going to get to the 10,000-pound gorilla. Yeah. But as far as the AIM funding goes, so they're saying they're not even going to be paying it out until they start collecting something. So that means that the towns and villages that had budgeted for it for this current year are not going to get anything?
No, they will be made whole.
By us?
Who will be picking up the shortfall will likely be counties. After the first year, everything will be annualized. In theory, that would be fine, but as we projected when there was the debate going on before the budget's approved, we were likely looking at $120,000 to $150,000 in theory in the red for that particular activity in the first year. Because there's not enough cash flow. They don't start collecting until June, but in December we need to make all those entities whole.
So
when would they traditionally be getting it?
When is it going to be dispersed? When is it typically dispersed to towns or villages? If it was coming through the state? Your guess is as good as mine.
I guess if I'm a town supervisor or mayor, that's kind of a pretty important distinction. I mean, is the county going to be handing over the money to them in normal course, or
they're going to have cash flow? I mean, they're going to have to cash flow it until it comes in. It's going to be a receivable from the state, so they're going to have to cash flow it. But
I think we kind of maybe need to network a little bit to iron that out. So.
Yeah, I have a list of I have a list of the towns and the villages. It's actually a statewide list, but it's categorized by county. So I have a list of the towns and the villages. So we'll get it out to you folks, so you can notify your supervisors and or mayors of what money that they're expecting and the time frame that they're going to expect it in. They were only cut out if it was less than 2% of their spending. So.
Okay. As far as the follow-up on the internet sales tax, how exactly do they presume that they're going to actually get collections from out-of-state purchases? There's internet sales tax.
The decision got made at midnight on Saturday. I doubt they've looked into the specifics of anything yet.
It would almost seem that it's based on an honor system of sorts. So again, you're hitting the nail on the head that it's a questionable revenue source to try to pin this on as far as distribution. It's just this is just a horrible budget. It's just, it's a horrible travesty for rural governments, as Mike Monticelli already said. So,
yep. It's a matter of the accounting, whether we're going to be able to keep track of it and tie everything together. That, that there's enough incremental revenue coming in on the sales tax side to cover the eventual payment. As Bob said, the first year we already know, because we're not going to collect the incremental revenue that's associated, so to speak, with it, which are really two different things, but they've associated one with the other. So we're not going to collect that incremental revenue fast enough, soon enough and fast enough to cover the cost. So the first year, you can well assured, and I'm sure we don't even know the accounting here, how we're going to, because it's just going to be a decrease in revenue for us. It's going to be a decrease in what we'd otherwise receive in sales tax. That's what it's going to be. But, the first year is going to cost us money, our money. And then after that, it's going to be whether there's incremental revenue enough to cover the cost. So, but, we all know sales tax is volatile. We've seen it, go through its cycles. And, when we're in a downward cycle, we don't know if it's producing. The question is, will we know if it's producing enough revenue to cover that additional cost we've been saddled with? That's the $1 million question, so to speak, right now. $500,000 question, or more. So,
right, but as we're also tied into now a permanent tax cap situation, did they add a larger stick to that if municipalities continue to override that there's going to be more penalties from the state for continuing to do so, or is that kind of left the same?
I'm not aware of any. Then the typical ones that are out there, which is the raise the age, is subject to overriding the sales tax. Indigent defense is not subject. So, but indigent defense is going to cost the local taxpayers a lot of money.
In terms of the cap, I don't think there's any change to the existing legislation other than to now say it's permanent. And in terms of all other procedures that are in place, that will remain the same.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I'm glad the governor and lieutenant governor are getting a raise so they can tell us how to do better business.
I'm sure that they're happy they're getting one too. So, anything else to come before the board? I'd just like to recognize for the students that are here, I'd like to recognize frequently we have department heads that attend meetings in terms of they have to have knowledge of what we're doing in order to how it's going to affect their departments, and a lot of times we call on them during the meeting if we have questions regarding one of the resolutions that is originating out of their department. So if I can just ask the department heads to stand real quickly. We got Mr. Hudson, we got Mike Borsey, we got Ginger Hall, we got Tracy Gaffney, and we got Tim Rubin. Thank you. Encourage the students to engage them before they get out of the room here this evening. So, oh, yep, well, of course we got Tori and Joe, we got Bob and Sarah, and the whole crew. That's right, they do. Anything else? I would just like to take a brief moment, because I know he does not want to extend this meeting any minute more than it has to be, to welcome Mr. Monticelli back. We are glad that you are in your road to recovery, and you're moving well and without any third-party apparatus. You're not riding in anything. You're not holding on to anything. You are free-flowing. We like to see that. So you look good. I am glad. And just briefly, birthdays. Mr. McBride's birthday is today. Do you want to disclose how old? 42. Gosh, you're a kid. So, and next in the line of birthdays is Mr. Nabawanek on the 24th. So, speaking of going from spectrum to spectrum here. 42, right? 42. Yeah, 42. Anything else come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Maxon, second. Mr. Peck, all in favor? Adjourn.